The Cadillac now makes this noise.
Welcome back to part 2 of 3 of the MERV project. Last episode we talked about the power expectations and project expectations, lengthening the mullet for more party on my daily driver. You also probably drive a car every day. You want to have something a little bit different, probably if you're watching this, maybe a little more powerful, a little more exciting. So you've thought about, hey, look at all these wonderful parts off the shelf. We're on the internet here that I'm looking at, and I want to find out what does it do. You've come to the right place, whether you have an ATS, an LTG motor car like a Camaro as well, or just in general you want to know. I want to talk about appearance, then we'll move into performance, power, and then we'll dive into a little bit of handling. First things first, the importance of real carbon fiber and fake carbon fiber. This is fake carbon fiber, a very plasticky part with a printed on carbon fiber print. I want to do these things for looks. This car is a daily driver, like I've said a million times now, so I didn't want to spend a ton of money. You can get OEM carbon fiber parts for certain cars. There are certain trusted manufacturers as well. I decided for this project, I wanted to go eBay, AliExpress, or Amazon. These are an AliExpress special, and I'll tell you right now, huge disappointment, did not come up as the pictures, and I got a refund. Okay, so be aware that there are options. What are the reviews like? What are the comments like? And if anything, are they trusted and you can eventually get your money back? Don't go fake. These just look terrible. From a distance, it may look like real carbon fiber, and there's that vinyl covering as well that looks like carbon fiber. The truth is, it doesn't have the depth when you're looking at it. When you're looking at the part, you can see the depth of the weave of carbon. That's why carbon fiber looks so amazing. It's also lighter. Ironically, the other part was lighter than this one because this one is actually a full original plastic piece covered in carbon fiber and then epoxy. This was a part also from AliExpress that turned out to be good quality. This was made somewhere with an actual part number because there are different ATSs in China. There's an ATS-L long wheelbase version. So there was a lot of cool parts for the ATS that I managed to find, and doesn't stop at mirror caps. I just want to show you the difference between looking for real carbon fiber and not. Continuing on with appearance, I got a 3-piece lip kit, which I got wrapped in carbon fiber because it was plastic. I got it wrapped by AK Carbon Fiber. She is on Instagram, does awesome work, has helped me out with a bunch of different lips and interior pieces for my cars. Definitely can recommend, so check her out. I also got a carbon fiber spoiler. One of my more favorite pieces of the interior was carbon fiber paddle extensions, which is neat because it's just a carbon fiber piece that goes over top of the existing paddles and lengthens the areas that you can use the paddle shifters, which I actually find really, really useful, again, just for looks. And then I have my automatic, yes, shift knob, and it had that weird leather fakeness patch that I was like, there needs to be something here. So I put on a suede piece. There's also a carbon fiber piece that just tacks on as well, and I appreciate it looks wise. Looks done, let's move on to performance. Listing off the parts: ZZP intake, ZZP downpipe, tune, Borla axle back, and a K&N air filter. Let's start there. A stock airbox for your car is designed and has been designed over the years to do the exact same thing, be as efficient as possible. A lot of manufacturers believe they can improve, and if you're really chasing the aftermarket improvement of your intake, you might find some power gains. But for a daily driver where I'm still gonna be driving in some bad, maybe dusty weather, and I'm not cleaning my filter all the time, I just want something that's going to be efficient. Stock airbox does not get heat soaked because it's plastic. The main downside for flow is sometimes they try and reduce the intake noise, and that's where the restriction lies. Overall though, they're very efficient. So all I wanted to do was add a panel filter from K&N. Does it flow more air? Yes. Is it gonna give me a bajillion horsepower? No. They don't even make horsepower claims on the panel filters anymore. All they say it's a percentage increase of airflow. I'm not expecting any power from it at all. I don't have to change it as often, and it's easier to clean. Some of them are oil-based, some of them are dry. Let's just make a claim that it might be better. Behind that though is a silicone tube that I've changed from the stock tubing. Very easy. This motor has the turbo and intake on one side, the driver's side, very easy to access, very easy to work on. The thing is the stock tube, as you can see, has this white plastic piece on the inside, and the whole point there is to reduce turbo noise. The belief is that a Cadillac shouldn't have a turbo whistle or noise. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that's GM marketing or just people talking on the forums that it's an old Cadillac style. It's something to do with noise. I highly doubt that this type of part is going to have anything to do with efficiency. Interestingly, it was coated in oil when I took it apart. The venting from the valve cover into the intake saturated this entire plastic part. They do that to have the oil go through the turbo, maybe lubricate it, I don't know, go back into the motor, burn it, and that just makes it more emissions efficient. I don't think that's good for power or whatnot, maybe not for longevity of the turbo itself. So the new silicone tube is just a straight flow tube, straight into the turbo. You don't have to worry about that. Well, what about that oil that we saw? That's where the ZZP or any other type of catch can comes in, where essentially you're venting instead of straight into the intake, you are now venting into a catch.
End zone, cup! He's got it!
Can that catches that oil. So it has a little can that vents into and then back out of it into the intake. Technically, I believe it's still legal because you aren't venting to atmosphere, you're venting back into the intake. I guess you could say it might be better for combustion because you're not burning oil, but I haven't seen that much oil collect anyway. I'm surprised at how much accumulates in the intake versus how much accumulates in the catch can. The silicone tube looks like a rubber weave, whereas this catch can is a very nicely machined part. It has a very nice holder that attaches onto the stock engine bay, and all the hosing runs nicely as well. I will say there is a valve that you have to move from the stock hosing to one of the hoses, and man, oh man, was it ever finicky. There's a lot of problems with it leaking for a lot of people, so take your time, follow the directions, you'll get it eventually. The next piece, and probably the most important piece, was actually the downpipe. There are two versions, catted and decatted.
Am I a cat? I'm a dog, barf!
When we talk cats, we talk catalytic converters. What it does is scrub the exhaust air so it doesn't stink.
It stinks.
And it's better for the environment. That's as simple as you can get. Catted versions are not going to be as efficient as decatted. More flow versus less flow. Also, the catted versions are going to be more expensive because you have that device, the catalytic converter, in the pipe. It's more expensive to manufacture, and the materials, such as platinum in them, are very expensive. So that's the price difference. Power and cheapness, go with the decatted. But beware, it's gonna stink.
It stinks.
And it's probably going to be illegal in your area. There are very few places where you can actually decat legally. I've had a decatted downpipe before and it stinks.
Everything stinks.
For my daily driver, would not do again, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. The power gains are generally marginal. Last but not least on the power adders was the axle back Borla exhaust. Is there any claim for power here? No, they wrote absolutely nothing on the box. But it is definitely lighter. I didn't weigh them, but I'll tell you right now, significant difference in terms of weight. I love how it looks, I love how it sounds. Bigger exhaust tips, just a nicer part, and the sound does make the difference without being ridiculous inside the cabin. Okay, overall power. The only part of the whole thing that claimed any type of power adder was the downpipe, 10 to 20 wheel horsepower. Finally, let's get into handling. This is my daily driver. I've said it a million times. It's not going to go on track.
Bing bang!
What I wanted was some better dynamics in terms of handling its weight,
Respectfully.
as well as a slightly lowered look. So Eibach Pro Kit makes a set of springs for the two-wheel drive version of this car and the Camaro. Turns out they fit on the four-wheel drive version as well. I have found that it actually works perfectly fine with the stock dampers and seems to actually control the car very, very well. I didn't get upset with any of the handling, both on street or at the track. The most incredible part is how much better the ride was on a day-to-day basis. Even with lower profile tires, it still rode better than the stock springs. So if you're gonna start somewhere, get yourself some Eibach Pro Kit springs for this car. I find it relatively inexpensive, both to buy and to install, and it made a huge difference. I'll tease some new shoes for the car, end up getting some 19s, and I'll show you what those look like in the next episode. So thank you for watching. Can't wait to share with you what the results were. I appreciate you watching, and remember, all gas, no brakes.